Some disabled passengers requesting rides with rideshare drivers are unhappy. Many are suggesting that they are being discriminated against, having trips canceled, and they're speaking out. Nevertheless, as a driver, while observing federal law, you also, as an independent contractor, have some rights and provisions. We're going to discuss it all from the aspect of both the driver and the passenger. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. As a rideshare driver, you are undoubtedly going to receive trip requests from special needs passengers, whether in wheelchairs, utilizing fold-up walkers, canes, or other assisted devices. Everyone that deals with passengers in the ride-sharing industry will occasionally have this happen, whether driving for Uber or Lyft or even some other companies. So we have to talk about this from the passenger perspective, whereas they are considered a federally protected class. You cannot discriminate against folks who are disabled. Nevertheless, you as a driver is an independent contractor, and that gives you unique options as well. We're going to talk about both of them. Nevertheless, this story is being propelled by Anna, a disabled passenger, temporarily disabled, who is speaking out and complaining because drivers are not wanting to pick her up because she is in a wheelchair. Check this out.
The story of a Silver Spring woman who's frustrated after continuously being denied rides through Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, she says it's all because of her foldable wheelchair. DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg has been looking into this case for us. And Daniel, she tells you this has happened multiple times.
Tasmin and Mark, this really started last Wednesday when Anna, who didn't want her last name used, had 3 different drivers pull up, see her wheelchair, and pull away. Anna is also my friend, and today I witnessed some of the cancellations myself as she told drivers ahead of time about the wheelchair. After a recent surgery, Anna has been using a foldable wheelchair to get around, but it hasn't been easy.
I've had, I think, a total of 8 Uber rides since Monday, and since those rides, 3 of them have literally driven up, seen that I'm in a wheelchair, press the cancel button on the trip, and then keep driving.
Uber does have a service for wheelchair-accessible vehicles, but Uber's website says drivers are expected to accommodate riders using walkers, canes, folding wheelchairs, or other assistive devices.
It weighs 23 pounds. My luggage weighs more than that.
After last week's trouble, Anna is now documenting everything.
So I always screenshot now, so I know who it is. And then I let them know, hello, I'm in a folding wheelchair. And then they have the option, as soon as they read it, to go ahead and cancel or, yeah. Tuesday
afternoon, we saw it firsthand, only 30 seconds after being assigned a driver and sending that text.
Oh, he just canceled. Yeah, this is normal.
It happened twice more before someone finally picked her up.
It's very unfortunate.
Attorney Deanna Maria Lewis says drivers may be going against federal law protecting those with disabilities.
I think that they could run into a lot of trouble, not just the individual drivers, but also the companies themselves, if they don't get a handle on these drivers who, to me, are violating not only company policy, driver policy, but perhaps even federal law.
Hello. This isn't something that's going to affect me long term, but at the same time, there are so many people who this is their life, and that's so not fair.
In a statement, an Uber spokesperson tells me all drivers agreed to transport assistive devices when signing up for Uber, and they're investigating these incidents and will take appropriate action. Lyft, which also canceled on Anna once, said any driver who denies service or discriminates against riders are at risk for removal from the Lyft platform. In the studio, Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
Uber spokesperson says all drivers agreed to transport assisted devices when signing for Uber. Well, there's an obvious problem there because Uber does not give physical examinations to any of its drivers. There is a stark possibility that drivers could be signing up to assist passengers when they are not physically capable to do so. If Uber is going to demand its drivers provide assistance to all of special needs passengers, they need to first be certain that the driver is even physically capable of doing that when they allow them access to the app and send them trips. We all know as rideshare drivers, there is no physical examination to drive for Uber. There's not even any mention of how you are physically or what your capabilities are. So in this case, you see the upset passenger state that, well, my luggage only weighs 23 pounds. My wheelchair is only 23 pounds. That's no different than your luggage. Two issues. First of all, lady, we don't even have to pick up your luggage either. So understand that. Do not just automatically assume drivers have to physically assist you. That is not part of the ride sharing duties. Our duties are to get you from point A to point B. Anything outside of that is extra. A lot of us do work for tips. We'll happily take tips. So understand if a driver is getting out, picking up your luggage or folding up your walker, or in this case, a 23-pound wheelchair, that is extra. That is not required by the job. Now, in the video, you notice the woman is saying that she believes that drivers and the company could be violating federal law by potentially discriminating against the disabled. Well, as I pointed out, the physical nature of the driver has to be taken in consideration. Although the law requires most businesses, if not all, to treat the disabled as normal customers or whatever the case may be, understand that in the ride-sharing business, we have to provide physical assistance to disabled. If you're disabled and you go to a McDonald's or you go to a typical business, they may have lowered the shelves or given you a curb that has a smooth ramp to ride up, but no one has to do anything physical to deal with you. Even if you get on a city bus in most metropolitan areas, the bus lowers so that you can get on and it's all automated. In ride sharing, the driver has to do things that are required physically, and most other businesses do not. Having said that, the driver has to be capable of doing that. You can actually be out taking trips as a rideshare driver with a broken arm. As long as you can legally drive a car, you can take trips. You may be capable, fully capable of driving, but not capable of lifting 20 pounds, such as the woman with the wheelchair. There are plenty of people who are in wheelchairs that drive vehicles. You can literally be an Uber or Lyft driver and be disabled. Would you be capable of getting out and helping somebody lift 23 pounds? Probably not. So that's the first issue, is that before you can demand drivers do physical labor, you have to first be certain that they are physically capable of doing so. Now, also, in regards to dealing with protected class in the laws that basically outlaw you discriminating against them. That is true. That is true. There are federal laws in the books that do not allow you to discriminate against somebody from one of the protected classes. Nevertheless, you notice what she stated? She said that she's had cars drive up, see her in the wheelchair, and push cancel. Well, based on that type of interaction, there is no way to prove that they were discriminating against you because you were in a wheelchair. There's absolutely no way to prove that. It obviously sounds suspect as hell, but if it had to go to court, I had just got a message from my child that there was an emergency at home. You know, I had to use the bathroom. My engine light came on. There could be a host of reasons a driver could present for why they suddenly canceled the trip. Not saying any of it is true. But if the driver just simply sees the passenger in the wheelchair, hits cancel, and keeps going, they're not violating the law. As long as they keep their mouth shut, they're not violating the law. So understand that. But she stated, which has been a big benefit to her, that she actually will screenshot the picture and actually send a message to the driver advising them that she is in a wheelchair. And she admitted that gives them a chance to cancel as opposed to wasting her time and driving all the way there. Kudos to this disabled woman for doing that. In reality, the damn rideshare company should be doing that. As I just stated before, some drivers may not be physically capable. They may have something else going on, maybe got carpal tunnel or something where they're not interested in picking up 20 or 30 pounds of wheelchair. So notifying them ahead of time saves everybody the trouble. It sucks that this woman, as a disabled passenger, has had to have so much frustration that she has taken steps to advise the drivers of something that the rideshare companies should do themselves. Now, in the earlier portion of the video, you hear Uber state that they do have a wheelchair accessible group of vehicles and things like that. Why not send that to the passengers? Why not do the passengers a solid and do your best to pair them up with drivers that want to and are capable of dealing with special needs passengers? Why have your passengers play Russian roulette with drivers that may or may not accept them? Maybe they have to get to doctor's appointments. Maybe they have a dialysis appointment that's pressing. Why keep sending them cars out hoping that the drivers take them when you could easily send messages to the drivers or use the wheelchair accessible vehicles that you claim you have? Maybe a driver has a Prius or some other small car that may not even have room for some of these accessible devices. Uber is responsible for why this is pissing off this lady and many other disabled passengers. Last but not least, we have to address the elephant in the room from a driver's perspective. Pay. P-A-Y, the pay. The pay for drivers is low. You've seen drivers all over the damn country striking. The fact that Uber takes as much as 80% of the fares that the passengers pay. So understand that if you are a passenger, it's very common for Uber to take anywhere from 60 to 80% of your fare. So whatever you pay to ride in an Uber, the driver generally receives far less than half of that. Understand that. And last but not least, tips. If the driver is getting out and picking up 23-pound wheelchairs, as she pointed out, or picking up luggage, tip the damn driver. As I stated in the beginning of the video, any physical labor, anytime the driver opens his damn door to do something for you as a passenger, he is going above and beyond the actual duties of the profession. The duty of the profession is to have you get from point A to point B safe, expeditiously in a clean vehicle. That is it. Anything else, chargers, allowing you to mess with the radio, stops, whatever the case may be, all of the shit a lot of you folks take for granted is things that normally drivers should be tipped for. Unfortunately, in this business, you have a hell of a lot of passengers that take a lot of these extra duties for granted and just automatically assume the driver should, or in some cases has to do it. You see how nonchalantly this disabled woman, it's only 23 pounds, my luggage weighs that much. Lady, we don't have to pick up your luggage, period. That also is extra. So understand that for my passengers out there, tip your damn drivers. Certainly if you're getting in the vehicle with assisted devices and all of this stuff, and you expect the driver to get out and help you fold up walkers and help you get into the vehicle, things like that. So all I'm trying to say is this can work if everyone walks away happy. But if this becomes a case where the drivers are just treated like shit and expected to just absorb additional duties, you're going to have more passengers like this. Because no one wants to have extra duties added onto their job with zero compensation. And that's exactly what this amounts to. So last but not least, once again, in regards to federal law and protected classes, the solution is simple, particularly for drivers, to prevent from getting yourself into some type of legal litigation mix-up. Keep your damn mouth shut. Do not ever drive to a passenger and advise that passenger, I am rejecting this trip because you are disabled or because you have an assisted device. Just simply, if you see something you don't like, drive off. This is not terrorism. This is not a case of see something, say something. Keep your damn mouth shut, drive off. Disabled passengers that are really disgruntled about how you're being treated in ride sharing, maybe you don't like what the hell I have to say, write the ride sharing companies and demand that they pair you up with drivers that are ready and willing to suit your needs, physically capable of suiting your needs, have a vehicle that is big enough to meet your needs, and that they advise the driver from the moment the trip is requested that you have special needs. None of this should be a surprise to the driver that's arriving to you. The fact that you have special needs, you have a wheelchair, you have some assisted device is something the driver should know the moment they turn the key and begin their passage to you. This should not be a surprise that the driver deals with the moment they drive up on you. That's what leads to them driving off on you. Nevertheless, I would definitely like to see what you folks have to say in the comments. Certainly my drivers, my veteran drivers, because we've all dealt with this. We have all dealt with this. It's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the channel as usual, and I'll see you in the next video.